But here's the challenge. And I was talking to somebody about this earlier. Because buyers have so much information available to them, there are plenty of them that feel like the buyer agent it's really not needed anymore. And I couldn't agree with that more. But they feel like, hey, I can shop for a home myself. I know that everything that's on the MLS is on Zillow. And, when I see something I like, I'm just going to contact the listing agent and they're going to show me the property. Well, here's the problem with that. That listing agent represents the seller. They don't represent you. And if they do, then it's going to be under something called dual agency, which is a very limited form of representation. If your idea is to get the best deal possible, I'm here to tell you that it's hard to do that by getting a dual agent because they already represent the seller. They have to represent both parties equally. Whereas if you have an exclusive buyer agent, I can do everything possible to have a conversation with that seller, that seller's agent, to find out their motivation to sell, what kind of negotiability they have on their listing. And you do that in very creative ways by asking good questions, which a skilled agent can do for you. But if I'm a dual agent, I can't tell you how low of an offer the seller might be willing to accept or why they might be willing to accept a lower offer, just like I can't tell the seller how much you can afford to pay for a house. But when you have individual representation and it's us versus them, aside from, our code of ethics and operating legally and ethically and morally, there are no other gloves to wear. It's us versus them. It's a fight. If you want to look at it that way, it's a competition to get the best deal possible. And the person that's more skilled wins. Or the person that has a deeper desire for whatever it is they're going to hold firm on is going to win, of course. And so that's just one of the challenges, is that we have all these buyers that now think, hey, I've got access to all the information I need. Why do I need you? The agents are no longer the gatekeepers of information. And so the challenge is the agents haven't adopted to a new way of doing things, or they leverage the fact that you can search for a home on your own. And rather than investing in the home search process with you, they just set you up with some sort of search on the MLS and they say, hey, I'm going to give you access to the MLS. Like it's this secret thing that nobody has access to. In reality, only real estate agents have access to the MLS. The information in the MLS is syndicated to other websites, but only agents can access the MLS. That's a fact. And so when we create a search view in the MLS and something is entered into the MLS by another real estate agent that will eventually appear on these other websites, the benefit to being working with an agent that has a search set up for you through the MLS is that it truly is instantaneous. I mean, there are properties that don't show up on Zillow until 48 hours afterwards. And if you're in the market for a property and something really nice hits the market, guess what? Some of those don't last 2 days. I just sold one for $1.25 million under multiple offers that sold in 2 days, which I was very impressed by. I was not necessarily expecting that from that market, but here we are. And so the problem is these agents say, hey, I'm just going to set you up with a search. And then each time you hit, you receive an email with some of these properties that have hit the market, let me know if you see anything you like and I'll show it to you. So they've just become a glorified door opener until it's time to write an offer on something and negotiate. And they need to help determine fair market value and how to help you negotiate and get the best deal possible, which is a totally separate set of skills for a separate discussion. But you should be looking for a buyer agent that is going to not only set you up with a search for properties for sale in the MLS, they should also be receiving that list of properties. They should also be calling you and saying, hey, did you see that new property that hit the market at 123 Main Street? It's perfect. We need to go see it like as soon as possible because it's priced really well. I mean, obviously, as a buyer, you want something like that, but you also want them calling for sale by owners and people that tried selling last year and the property came off the market and now the world has kind of forgotten about them, except for the few agents that bug the you-know-what out of them to try and get them to list with them. But that's a source of potential sales that buyer agents should be calling on behalf of their clients. You also have the ability to determine, who might be selling in the near future. Are there other agents that have listing agreements that are not online yet? Do we have listings that are not online yet? We call the neighborhood and ask if people know of anyone in the neighborhood willing to sell. And that sounds like such an old school approach, like, oh, yeah, right, you do that. We do. In the past 2 years, we sold 28 homes doing that. It's incredible when you start adding people to the team and spreading your net really wide to find all of these deals for your buyers. So long as you're actually working and turning over stones, you're going to find deals. You're going to go above and beyond for your clients and find those opportunities rather than just sit back and be always in reactive mode like so many agents are. So that's what you need to be looking for a buyer agent, is somebody that's going to be proactive and go out and find you properties in addition to just sending you what's already coming through the MLS.